And today, with growing tensions between the United States and Venezuela. In a dangerous escalation, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has announced the deployment of more than 4.5 million militia across the country. Maduro's remarks followed reports suggesting that the United States has deployed guided missile destroyers off Venezuelan waters. The move aligns with the Trump administration's bid to cut down drug trafficking. And the U.S. has also raised the bounty on Maduro's arrest to $50 million from the previously imposed $25 million. Now, onlookers are wondering if this latest standoff is a prelude to something bigger. Final Story explores.
They can arm the whole country, but it's not enough muscle to have a war with the United States. They're just like flexing, they're showing up. And $50 million, that's a lot. It surprised me that the people around Maduro is not selling him for $50 million. There's a lot of money, and even more for the people over there in Venezuela. They're dying. They're starving.
4.5 million militia members, prepared, activated and armed, will be out marching in cities across Venezuela. This is Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro's special strategy to counter threats from the United States.
This week, I will activate a special plan to guarantee coverage with more than 4,500,000 militiamen throughout the national territory. Militias prepared, activated, and armed.
He has also activated the new peace squadrons to guard Caracas and patrol its neighborhoods. These units comprise the police, the military, and community organizations.
The militia is integrated into all peace squadrons. With the plan we are developing to activate the militia throughout the country, from north to south, from east to west, and all defensive capabilities so that no one will ever touch Venezuela.
United States can defeat Venezuela without even deploying a single soldier on the country, With the guided missiles, they can do all the work. And, well, there's some... It's true that United States has some interest in oil in Venezuela, but it's also true that the gangs that Venezuela is deploying to United States are getting out of control. I don't know if you heard, I don't know in which place was, which state. I don't remember quite well right now, but there was a state that a whole neighborhood was controlling by the gangs. Even the Hells Angels went there to fight against them. Gangs are getting out of control. That's for sure also.
But why is Venezuela up in arms? And what is this US threat that Maduro is referring to? It started with US President Donald Trump's vow to wipe out foreign cartels trafficking drugs into American borders. Washington launched anti-drug operations across Venezuela. The US also announced a bounty on Nicolas Maduro, doubled it to $50 million, and seized assets linked to him.
The DOJ has seized over $700 million of Maduro-linked assets, including 2 private jets, 9 vehicles, and more. Yet Maduro's reign of terror continues. He is one of the largest narco-traffickers in the world and a threat to our national security. Therefore, we've doubled his reward to $50 million.
I mean, you cannot deny that there's a lot of corruption over there in Venezuela, and I mean, I'm almost 100% sure that Maduro has some connections with the narc and etc. You cannot doubt about it. You cannot be so naive.
The US says Maduro is one of the world's largest drug traffickers and a threat to its national security. It accuses Maduro of leading Latin American drug trafficking gang Cartel de los Soles. So America wants Maduro behind bars. The Trump administration has also imposed sanctions against the Maduro government and Cartel de los Soles and accused the gang of shipping hundreds of tons of narcotics into the United States.
The Department of Justice and State Department are announcing a historic $50 million reward for information leading to the arrest of Nicolas Maduro. Maduro uses foreign terrorist organizations like TDA, Sinaloa, and Cartel of the Suns to bring deadly drugs and violence into our country.
I mean, a lot of people are saying like, "Oh, Americans again with the oil, etc." But I can, I know for sure that if United States, I don't know, like wipes out Maduro's regime, I know for sure that people in Venezuela, they're going to be much better, man. They can be worse than the way they are right now. I mean, they starving. They're. I think that they are worse than Cuba. I don't know, but it's something like that.
US military has also reportedly deployed several naval vessels, including guided missile destroyers, to waters off Venezuela. 4,000 military personnel have also been reportedly deployed. The Trump administration says the action is part of its broader anti-narcotics campaign. Caracas called these actions provocative and hostile. Maduro described the US threats as extravagant, bizarre, outlandish, and called them rotten rehashes. As Maduro remained defiant, Washington even targeted the Venezuelan economy. The Trump administration announced a 25% tariff on imports from the countries buying Venezuelan oil or gas. In 2020, during Trump's first presidency, Maduro and his allies were indicted by a US federal court on drug charges, including those of involvement in a narco-terrorism conspiracy. The Venezuelan government, however, denies these accusations.
25% of tariffs, that's a lot, man. That's a lot. And I think that in the past, the CIA also did something like that with the economy of Venezuela. They insert like millions and millions and millions of dollars in Venezuela, in type of money in Venezuela. They call, it's not dollars, they call it bolivares. And that's the reason why if you like $10, it's equal like a pack of bills of bolivares. That's the reason why they have done this before, but I think this time it's quite different.
Estas fantasiosas.
Those same immoral people are trying to say here that our commander-in-chief, Nicolas Maduro, is a drug trafficker, that the Minister of Defense is a drug trafficker. It is disrespectful to the people of Venezuela.
De la nación que violan flagrantemente.
Washington and Caracas have not had formal bilateral ties since 2019. The White House says it does not see Maduro as a legitimate president, and that the 2024 elections, where Maduro retained power, were a sham. Even the Venezuelan electoral authorities failed to provide a detailed vote count of the polls to back his victory claims. The country's opposition leader, Edmundo Gonzalez, who called out the farce election result, had to leave Venezuela. He alleged that he was forced to accept Maduro's victory. So far, Maduro's rule has done
Maduro
little to favor Venezuelans.
It's a dictator. He has he has some regime of terror there. You cannot deny that. You cannot deny that true.
Over the past 10 years, about 7.7 million Venezuelans have fled the country. This is due to shortages of essential goods and skyrocketing inflation.
That's the reason why you find that Venezuelans all over the world, 7 million. Can you imagine that?
Venezuela continues to reel under a growing drug menace and economic isolation, and Maduro's growing rivalry with the US only seems to be adding to the woes of its people.
First post now available.
And well, at the end, the people is the one that is suffering right now. The leaders are pretty comfortable at their houses. But you cannot blame the United States for doing this, Despite the oil, Venezuela is floating with a lot of gang members. They're deploying hundreds of thousands of gang members to the United States. That's the reason why you cannot blame America for doing that, Thank you so much for watching me. See you later on. Thank you.